It's officially spooky season, and there's no better way to start than with one of the most famous vampire stories of all time. That being Salem's Lot. Now, before this year started, I hadn't ever read a Stephen King book. January came around, and I wanted to change that, so I decided to pick up 11/22/63, which was an absolute banger, one of my favorite books that I've ever read. A few months later, I decided to pick up another very popular Stephen King book, The Stand, which was an absolute banger.
Banger after banger!
And then I just recently read The Long Walk. Now, it doesn't hold up to these other two books that I read. Those were two of my favorite books of all time. But this was good. I would say if you're into like battle royale type of things, this is going to be for you. A common theme between these three books is that none of them focus fully on horror, unlike Salem's Lot, or so I've been told Salem's Lot does. Vampires, small town, spooky houses. That's pretty much all I know about the book, but already it seems like it's a lot more horror-based than those other three books that I have read in the past. So I'm really looking forward to a little bit of fright in my October. Anyways, that's enough about why I'll be reading the book. Let's get into how I'll be reading the book. So the book is divided into 3 parts. So I figured after each part, I'll give a check-in to you guys to see where I'm at in the book, if I'm liking it, if it's scary, if I would recommend it to you guys. And then at the end, we'll do a full rating and review on the book. I'll try to keep it nice and spoiler-free, but no promises. Might slip a couple little things in there by accident, but it's going to be as spoiler-free as possible. You might as well call me a vampire the way I'm about to sink my teeth into this thing. Right? Right? Get it? Because there's vampires?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Alright, let's just get to the book. 207 pages later, part 1 in the books. Let's see what we learned so far. So part 1 is definitely the slow burn stage setting part of the book, which I as a reader appreciate because I know that there's going to be a nice payoff down the road. Some people might be impatient and not really like it. I can't really blame you. I'm 207 pages in and there's really not been like too many things to write home about as far as actions or scares go. I think an important thing to point out here is that it's written in a third-person perspective, so you really get to see everybody's reaction to things in the town. You're not just focused on one character like you are in Red Rising with Darrow or 11/22/63 with George Amberson. You really get to see the town as a whole, what the general consensus is on things, the lore behind certain houses, aka the Marston house, and we're privy to some of the weird happenings that start going on within the town. So this writing style, although it's not something that I usually read, is really speaking to me right now, and I think is perfect for this type of book. I do want to just take another second to talk about the Marston house because it is for sure the most important part of part 1. So the Marston house is a long abandoned house that sits on the top of the hill in the small town of Jerusalem's Lot. And since it's on top of the hill, it could pretty much be seen from anywhere in town, and it almost casts a figurative shadow over the town. So I really like the way that Stephen King uses the Marston house. You're rarely actually physically there in the first part, but it's talked about every other page, I swear. And I'm very much looking forward to see what's going to happen at this house. I'm sure it's going to scare the bejesus out of me, but I already know something's going to culminate in this house. As far as overall scariness goes, it's really not that bad. There's some spooks in it, but very manageable, especially for me. I'm a baby when it comes to this kind of thing. So I haven't really been all that spooked. I give it like a 4 out of 10 on the scary scale. However, it did start to pick up near the end of part 1. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 6, 7 by the end of part 2. God. Alright, I'm sorry. I'll catch you for part 2. Part 2 is all done, and let me tell you, business has definitely picked up. All that unease that King was able to establish in the first part comes right at you in the second part. This section of the book really hones in on some of the characters that were established in the first part, making the story feel a little bit more intimate. Now, don't get me wrong, it still has that small town feel that I really fell in love with in the first part, but we really get to spend a little bit more time with individual characters rather than the town itself. This allows us as the reader to really get attached to the characters that are in the thick of it. And when I say thick of it, I mean vampires, of course. We did get some teases of the vampires in the first part, but this second part has absolutely blown it out of the water in comparison. A combination of vanishing corpses and spine-chilling encounters has the town absolutely turned on its head. So naturally, the spookiness of this book has doubled easily. That's why I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 on the scary scale. Like I said before, I am an absolute wimp when it comes to this kind of thing. But to me, like, my goosebumps are popping up every couple pages, and it's got me invested, don't get me wrong. But, like, it's sometimes hard for me to turn the page, in a good way. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this bad Larry is going to end. So, why don't we get to it? 512 pages later, Salem's Lot in the books. So before I get into Salem's Lot as a whole, I will be talking about Part 3, The Deserted Village. So this section of the book is basically just one huge chapter, chapter 14. There is another one after, but that's like a couple pages long. Chapter 14, by far the longest chapter I've ever read in any book, ever. It was 120 pages. I've never seen anything like it before. Stephen King writes a truly unsettling third act that leaves nothing on the table. Killing off characters we've grown to love, answering questions we've been asking, and giving us an ending to the story that was quite fulfilling, I'd say. As far as scariness goes, I'm going to give it another 8 out of 10 on the scary scale. Very similar in the types of scares that we're getting here, although the overall setting is a little bit more grim, I'd say. Now that we've summarized, or kind of summarized each section, time to give my overall thoughts on the book. Growing up, I rarely experienced anything vampire related, whether that was movies or any other kind of media. So for my first official trip down the vampire lane, I thought this was an excellent place to start for me. It not only lived up to the expectations, but exceeded them. As far as pacing goes, think about an exponential graph, how it kind of starts low and slow and then it goes higher and higher. That's basically what the pacing was like. We started out low and slow, kind of building up, layer by layer, and then, just about halfway through the book, things started really taking off, and then they really never slowed down. Despite there being a good amount of characters in this book that we follow, each one has its own distinct personality. This allows us to love the ones we're supposed to love, hate the ones we're supposed to hate, and feel indifferent for the ones that we're supposed to feel indifferent for. And don't even get me started on the setting. Absolute 0 notes, A1, just perfect. As far as scariness goes, I gave it a 4 out of 10 in the first section, and then an 8 out of 10 in the second and third sections, which, if you do some quick maths, is 20 out of 30, which computes to 6.7 out of 10. And I'm not going to make the joke. I swear I'm not going to make the joke. I swear to you. Now that I gave my scary rating, I feel like it's only fair to give an actual hard-nosed rating of this book. And I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 on the star ranking. I think most people use the stars. I like doing it out of 10, but I'll conform to the people for once. 4 out of 10. 4 out of 5. I hope this video might have convinced you to pick up Salem's Lot if you haven't read it before, or if you've read it, to reread it. It's the perfect time of year to do so. Like I said before, we're in spooky season, so now's the time. We got some vampires, we got some horror, we got some gore. It's all here. It's all here in this book, so highly recommend to anybody looking for something this October. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments, whether that's your opinion on the book, another book recommendation that's similar to the spooky kind of vibes that this gives off, or just to say hi. I'll be in the comment section responding to all you guys. And if you like this video and want more from me in the future, like, subscribe, do all that YouTube nonsense. It's not nonsense. It would actually help a lot. But do all that YouTube stuff that everyone else tells you to do. Love ya. Peace.